What's up, world? Welcome to The Positive Truth, uplifting and positive news for a more progressive society. Tim, what are we trying to bring?
Here at The Positive Truth, we're trying to bring awareness, empowerment, inspiration, optimism, and understanding to communities everywhere.
I'm JP. Tim is back for the Mondays.
Oh, take that, world.
With the flex.
Nothing raised at all.
Pardon me while I get out of the way while you flex. If you're new to The Positive Truth, we appreciate you listening. We're doing positive news that we know you're not hearing enough of. We do only positive news on Wednesday and Fridays, audio only. And on Mondays, you can see the audio-visual episode where you can see Tim's pretty face, which is today. And we do inspirational stories, interviews, or our favorite positive news stories from the past month. Today, we're doing 2 inspirational news stories about the military. But before we get to that, make sure to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review. Tell a friend about this positive news. Helps us spread all this positivity. Helps us out so much. We also have a Facebook page where we post positive news stories. Instagram where you can see Tim's pretty face. And Twitter and YouTube where we post our videos. Whew. It's a lot of talking.
It was, man. I was impressed.
But now we got our 2 inspirational stories. I am hyped to hear about Tim's. I want Tim to start.
Yes.
Because yours is definitely the best one, I think, today.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Well, let's see about that. I just now found out, because of social media, I told you before, man, I'm loving my news feed. But because of social media, I ran into this article, and I was like, oh, I could use this as a positive news story for, a Wednesday, Friday episode. And then I read the article, I was like, no. I'm definitely saving this one. So there is actually a team of retired U.S. Navy SEALs, and basically they're helping police detectives find teens from sex trafficking. Article caught my attention, of course. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then I read on. So their nonprofit is called Saved in America.
Oh, they're not getting paid for this?
No, not at all, man. Retired. They actually are doing this on top of their regular job. I found an interview with them as well with Vice.
So this is the Justice League in real life?
Exactly. Why do you think I love it so much? We got real life superheroes. And on top of that, obviously the retired U.S. Navy SEALs. They were in the military. We don't talk about people in the military enough. I was definitely told that the other day in a conversation. They were like, around Veterans Day, everybody wants to talk about them, but the rest of the year, nobody says anything. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I got you. Found this story, and here we are. So basically, man, they're a nonprofit organization. They all have regular jobs. I found this interview where they actually, besides the founder, everybody has their face blocked off. They don't want to show their identity to protect themselves because what they're doing is dangerous. So what they decided to do is help the police. There's been about 7,621 cases reported of human trafficking in 2016, right? So what they did is they decided, you know what, we're going to do our part. When these parents have nowhere else to go, when they're in panic mode and they have to look for their child themselves because the investigation can only go so far. The police can only do so much by law. Whenever these parents don't know what to do, they come to them and then they take control. They look on social media, they do investigation, they do everything they possibly can to find this child. And there was an example story, actually. There was a parent named Maureen and David. Their girl disappeared with a friend in January. And 3 weeks later, Maureen and David contacted Saving America. And the volunteer group of Navy SEALs, they ended up finding the 16-year-old girl from a sex trafficking ring. There was also another case where this woman, her daughter, thought she ran away. She ended up getting kidnapped. She contacted Saved in America. Now, her daughter was gone for 2 months. How long did it take Saved in America to find her daughter?
I guess 2 months?
2 days.
Oh, okay.
2 days, man. She was so angered by it because she felt like the police weren't doing anything. They could only tell her so much. And she went to Saving America and said, I'm frustrated, I don't know what to do, I'm scared. And it took them 2 days to find her daughter. And in the interview, the lady was so upset that she decided to go to Congress. It inspired her to go to Congress. She's like, these people are doing such a good job. Why is it that I had to go to them whenever the police aren't doing what they need to? And the congressperson said, basically, you have your daughter back, you should be grateful, but there's only so much legally they can do. So I'm going to skip down this article and talk about the founder really fast because the founder said, you know what, in a perfect world, this organization isn't going to be needed. His name is Joseph Travers. I was going to say Tavers. Joseph Travers. He founded this organization. He was a U.S. Navy SEAL, and he saw on TV about a young girl who did not get to come back home. And it really upset him, so he decided to call a few of his friends that were living in the same city as him, and they put this organization together. And now they are 28 strong. They're doing this on a regular basis for no fee at all whatsoever. They feel like they need to do the right thing. So he did research on his own, and he found out that 20% of runaways, they end up getting kidnapped and put in a sex ring. So he said, this has to stop. People don't realize that there's a lot of gangs, there's a lot of drug trafficking. People don't realize that sex trafficking is a rising crime here in the U.S., and it's growing. So he wants to do his part. He got his friends, he got his squad. They're basically the Justice League. I thought it was super inspiring.
There's 28 of them?
28 of them.
They're more like the Avengers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, the reason why... Avengers were deep. The reason why I love this story so much is because these are retired U.S. Navy SEALs. They did something for a long period of time. They retired from it, but instead of just putting up their cape, see what I did there? Instead of just putting up their cape and going on and just living their life, they're still being heroic. Because obviously they're heroes. They're U.S. Navy SEALs. Come on, man. Those are like some of the best of the best. And now the fact that they're in their own community, giving back, doing what they can to make their place, their home safe, I thought it was amazing. They showed to me the most inspirational thing you can have in all reality. And that's just not to give up, to show consistency, to be more than what you see around you. And I just thought it was awesome, man. I thought it was something we definitely needed to share here on The Positive Truth. Boom.
That is awesome. Their group is called SIAM.
Saved in America.
10 out of 10 name. Just throw that out there. They really are like the Avengers / Justice League. I have no clue how they have time to do this while they're working.
Who knows? They're probably not getting any sleep, man. They go to work like Clark Kent did, and then at night, Cape comes out.
All we're doing on our free time, Tim, is trying to find positive news stories. They're definitely kicking us to the curb.
Facts.
So shout out to them. That is amazing. I don't really have anything else to say except go support them. Go send a donation their way.
Absolutely.
Link in the description.
I'm definitely going to post a Facebook interview from Vice News on our Facebook page with Travers. It's an amazing video. They actually go on with him whenever he finds a little girl that's 14, and I thought it was pretty amazing. So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, it's at the Positive Truth Podcast.
Link also in the description.
Tú sabes.
So now I have an inspirational story, but not sure how I can really top that. So I'm going to go with something a little different. But I want to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Okay, let's do that.
You ever heard of them, Tim?
I definitely heard of it. I don't know too much about it, to be honest with you, but I definitely have heard of it.
So they were the first integrated airfield group, I guess, pilots in American history. So during segregation in the armed forces, this is 1920s and 30s, you had like Amelia Earhart, Charles Lindbergh. They were captivating the nation because they were flying everywhere.
Right.
But there was this idea in the military that African Americans and minorities were just worse, like soldiers. So they're like, don't put them in planes, they're just going to crash them.
Right, they're not smart enough, quote.
Exactly. Well, in 1938, with Europe teetering on the brink of another great world war, President Franklin D. Roosevelt was like, we should probably expand the civilian pilot training program in the United States. So the NAACP was like, we should probably include some African Americans. It might not be a bad idea. And so at the Tuskegee Institution in Alabama, it was actually founded by Booker T. Washington. Talked about him?
Yeah, we did.
Talked about him a couple of weeks ago with George Washington Carver. 'Tis a small world back in the day. Still is. And they were like, all right, we're going to bring in some trainees. So they brought in about 1,000 pilots. And what was so special about these 1,000 pilots, not only were they African Americans, they were basically the best. They all they were all college graduates or undergraduates. They came from all over the country. And they ended up being navigators, bombarders, instructors, aircraft, engine mechanics, control tower operators, and just support staff. But they were all brought in.
They were all educated for sure.
They were the best of the best. It was like, we got to prove that African Americans can do this.
Okay, I'm following.
So 13 members of the aviation candidates in 1941. The leader was Benjamin O. Davis Jr. He was a graduate of West Point, and he became the captain of the 14 pilots, and they called it the Tuskegee Experiment. And so they went on to serve in World War II. Now, do you think they were successful, Tim?
You know what?
Since we're talking about it, probably.
Do I think they were successful? I would say at first there were some failures, but they ended up being successful for sure.
Well, what if I told you it was basically none? They flew 15,000 individual sorties in Europe and North Africa during World War II. Their impressive performance earned them more than 150 distinguished flying crosses and helped them encourage the eventual integration of the U.S. Armed Forces. All because of these 14 people, those 1,000 people that came in and helped build the planes, helped work from that one base in Tuskegee.
Gotta start somewhere, for sure.
So, I mean, that's basically it. They flew, they were the 332nd. They flew their last combat mission in April 26, 1945. So they did from 42 to 45, they did 15,000. Like individual sorties or missions.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. 2 weeks before the Germans surrender, they had destroyed or damaged 36 German planes in the air, 237 on the ground, 1,000 rail cars, and yeah, man, they captured. They did pretty much everything. After that, they went to go speak in front of Congress to integrate in 1948 the whole armed services.
So this was the first group of minority pilots in the military, basically in the U.S. And they changed the game for everybody. Now we can have any race up there piloting as long as you're a citizen here for the U.S. I think that's amazing, man. I really do. Like it's awesome that you have a military story to bring up as well, but I think it's awesome. You do have to start somewhere. And even if you have all kind of failures and stuff, even if they would have failed every mission they had and it was just terrible for them, they started it. So now people could see it and know there could be some kind of success or growth. And now we're at here, 2019, where if you wanted to be a pilot, you definitely could. I don't think I'm tall enough for some reason.
I don't think my vision's good enough, man.
Okay, touche. We ain't flying nowhere. Woo.
I definitely think you're tall enough, Tim.
Okay, I'll take that W then.
Adjustable seats.
Yeah, let's go. No more, what is it called, phone books I have to sit on?
Fun fact, adjustable seats in cars are only because of the military where they adjusted it in airplanes first. Fun facts with JP.
And it goes with our story. See, I told you knew too much, man. Yeah, I liked your story. I did, man. I see what you did there.
And so now, some of those people became U.S. Navy SEALs. They led the influence for U.S. Navy SEAls, which are now working to help people
Mind
today.
blown. I had no clue. That's a real fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn, JP, man.
'Tis a small world.
It is a small world.
Of people doing positive things.
Absolutely.
We appreciate everyone for listening. We'll be back next Monday where we're going to talk about our favorite positive news stories of March 2019. Until then, let's hear this quote, Tim.
Through perseverance, many people win success out of what seemed destined to be certain failure. Benjamin Disraeli.
Well, we're about to Disraeli out of here. Till then, we're out.
Stay positive.